This video is over converting fractions to decimals. Fractions and decimals represent the same things, numbers that are not whole numbers. So sometimes when we are comparing many fractions to see which is bigger, it's harder to find a common denominator. So we can convert those fractions to decimal to see which one is larger more easily. To write a fraction as a decimal, all you have to do is divide the numerator. The numerator is the top of the fraction by the denominator, and the denominator is the bottom of the fraction. So remember, it's the numerator divided by the denominator. So in words, we say a fraction as 5/8 or 5 out of 8. As a model, there are 8 pieces, so we would shade in 5 of them. So that's 5 out of the 8 pieces. As a fraction, we write 5/8. And remember, that means 5 divided by 8. So to convert that to a decimal, the numerator goes inside and the denominator goes outside. Some people remember this as the cowboy gets off his horse and goes inside. So then it's just a division problem. 8 does not go into 5, so I'm going to put a 0 there and bring up my decimal. 8 goes into 50 6 times. It says 8 times 6 is 48. And then you have 2 left over. You have to add another 0 and drop it down because we still have a remainder. 8 goes into 20 2 times, and that gives us 16. Add another 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. And now that we have a remainder of 0, we're done. So the decimal version of this is 0.625. So Miss Wilcox purchased 2 pizzas for dinner. Her husband ate 3/5 of a pizza. Write 3/5 in 3 different forms. So we can write it in words as 3/5. As a model, we can shade. If this represents 1/5, 1/5 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can shade 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5 to represent 3 of those fifths. And as a decimal, I need to divide. So this is the same as that. 5 does not go into 3, so I put a 0 and bring up my decimal. 5 goes into 30 6 times, and there's no remainder there. So as a decimal, it's 0.6. Dave ran 3 3/4 mile in 1 weekend. On his pedometer, it was written in decimal form. So we're going to write this mixed number 3 3/4 in the following ways. 3 3/4 is how you would write that in words. It's exactly the way you say it. 3 and 3/4. On a number line, that would be 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3/4. As a decimal, the 3 is going to become the whole number, and we just need to figure out what goes after the decimal. The 3/4 is going to be that part that goes after the decimal. So 3 goes inside. 4 does not go into 3, so I put a 0 there. 3 goes into 30 7 times because 7 times 4 is 28. I still got a 2 left over, so I'm adding a 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. And now there's 0 left over. So this is going to be 0.75 as my decimal component. So we're going to convert the following fractions or mixed numbers into decimals. There's a couple different ways you can approach it. You can go straight to the division component, or you can turn this into a mixed number first and just calculate the decimal part. I'm just going to use this because 3 goes into 18 6 times, so there's nothing left over. So there is no decimal part on that. This one, 8 does not go into 3. So we have to add a decimal and a 0. 3 goes into 30, sorry, 8 goes into 30 3 times, so it's 24, with 6 left over. 8 goes into 60, 8 times 7 is 56, and there's a 4 left over. Add another 0, 8 goes into 40 5 times. And that leaves me with a 0 remainder, which means I'm done. 7 and 1/5, 7 is going to be your whole number. 1/5, we divide, so 5 does not go into 1, so I put a 0. 5 goes into 10 twice. And that leaves me with a remainder of 0, so my decimal component is 2. 6 does not go into 5, so I add my decimal and my 0. 6 goes into 50. 6 times 8 is 48. Draw another 0. 6 goes into 20 3 times. That's an 18. So I do have 2 left over. So because I have 2 left over, this is telling me that this is going to repeat. Now it's only the 3 that's going to be repeating, because this next value would be a 3 again, over and over and over again. So 7 and 4. 4 goes into 7 one time, with 3 left over. So if I did it that way, I know that 3/4 is 0.75. So I could convert it a little bit quicker that way. Or you could just, if you didn't know what it was right off the top of your head, you could do the division. Or another way that you could choose to do it is just go straight to the division part. 4 goes into 7 one time, and then you figure out your remainder and drop down your 0. 4 goes into 30, excuse me, 7 times, which is 28. So there's 2 left over. It goes into 20 5 times. So whichever approach you decide to take, you should still get the same answer, which, as we just found out, this is the same thing for the next problem. So 1.75. Your assignment's on page 29. Please complete it and have it ready tomorrow.